Hello, everybody. Welcome to another victorious post-game show of Real Hawk Talk. I am Brian Emmanwori. You can find me TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all over the place at Hawk Blogger. And tonight you find me in the cozy confines of my house not long after the game ends because you know what? This game was over pretty soon after it began. And that's the second straight time that's been the case. We're going to talk all about it. The Seahawks win 44-22, go to 7-2, and have the largest point differential in the NFC. They are the only team in the NFC with a point differential over 100, and that's just a fun number. Plus 103. So let's break it all down, and let me bring in my good pal and fellow stash mate, Derick Ebby. Derick, man, how are you doing?
Great. I mean, Seahawks are atop the NFC West. I don't want to jump the gun here, but we have an amazing matchup next week that's just going to be so much to talk about there. I won't get into it yet, but
it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to not just turn the attention to the Rams game.
But it feels good, where they're at right now. This is the first time in I don't know, maybe close to a decade, 8 years probably. You're looking at this team this is a team that can win playoff games. This is a team that will be there. And you actually have some hope. They're not going to be sneak into the wild card and lose. This is a very good team, and it's just exciting to be back to that stage.
Yeah. It's reminiscent of the 2012 breakout. It is I don't think it's the same. There's a lot of reasons why. The 2012 breakout, for people who don't remember, also involved a Cardinals game. It started with a 58-0 win over the Cardinals. For people that don't remember what that feels like. And then they went on the road to Buffalo and they actually it was Toronto. Technically, I was in Toronto for that game. I don't think I even knew Jeff at that point. But anyway, they win 50-17 that week. And then they come home and they beat the 49ers 42-13. And that was okay, this team is not just good. They are dominating teams, and they are beating their chief competition in the division. 2 divisional wins, 2 divisional blowouts out of 3. And I can't help but just see the parallels here. Yes, you go in the Commanders and you blow them out. The Commanders aren't that good, so what? You come in here and you're up, 38-7 at halftime against Arizona? And now who do you play? Your biggest divisional rival it'll be in LA, but guarantee there's gonna be a lot of blue and green in the stands down there. So, yeah, I can't help but just think back to those days. And that was the read option was this thing that no one really knew how to defend. There's all these things that made that special. This just feels like the Seahawks are whipping people's asses, period.
It does. And the defense is back, which the whole Pete Carroll era was defined by great defense, right? And the last few years, it was really missing. And now, they've put up that graphic. I don't know, at some point in the first half. I don't know if you saw it, Brian, but they were comparing 2023 to 2025. And it was just, pre-Macdonald to now where they're at now. And it was 31st in yards per game, 28th in points allowed per game. And now the Seahawks are top 10 in every category. And it's this feels like Seahawks football. And speaking of the defense, that first half was just the domination. And then the second time that you get a fumble for 6 is just and it's Take Lawrence again. And you're just going, wow.
I mean, what on earth was happening? I mean, I think no one knew what to do. It was the first drive of the game, the Seahawks kind of were meandering down the field. And then Sam Darnold's yeah, you know what? JSN and I are just going to take care of the rest of the 43 yards, one play. He's not really open, but I'm going to throw it directly into his lap. And JSN, people are going to be mad at me, but this is exactly what I thought of, because it wasn't an easy throw, perfect throw. It wasn't an easy catch. My first thought is DK Metcalf does not make that catch.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think that people cannot overstate, not just this isn't about DK being bad. I'm not trying to throw shade there, but I don't think you can overstate how much it has been a huge step forward to have one of the most trustworthy, efficient receivers that can do anything at any level of the defense and will catch the ball even in situations where most guys won't, versus a guy that was an athletic freak, made some amazing plays, but often didn't make the simple ones and often did not make the play that actually elevated your quarterback. And so I don't think this is just a Sam Darnold thing. I don't think it's just a JSN thing. I think the two of those guys together, man, it is like Mozart. Like it is. I mean, JSN ends up, I think, breaking his streak, unfortunately, of 100-yard games, but he ends up like 93. Whatever it was.
There was another graphic though that they put up. So he's had over 75 yards in each of the first 9 games. There's only 2 other players to ever have done that in the Super Bowl era through the team's first 9 games, and that's Antonio Brown and Michael Irvin, actually. So rare air, and like to that point, it just shows the consistency that connection has been. And I can't think of the last time the Seahawks have had someone like Doug Baldwin, sometimes like that, but he was never a volume guy. There were never a volume offense that was going to get him 1,500 yards. It's just like every game, JSN is putting up big numbers. He's over 1,000 yards 9 weeks into the season, which is crazy enough. And I just have to say, like, he's shrugged off this slot receiver, limitation or stereotype, like whatever you want to call it. He is everything that I think the team hoped he would be, and even more, because he is not just doing it from the slot.
It's I'm just going back and looking at some of the numbers here. He ends up with 5 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches in 6 targets, 43-yard touchdown. So another explosive. He's had at least one 30-yard catch, I believe, in every game this season. It might be every a 25-plus yard, but it's at least, I think it's at least that. Cooper Kupp, the deep threat that he is, the yak king that he is, has a 67-yard catch. So he's like, 43, that's cute, JSN. Let me show you how the olds do it. And rumbles for a 67-yard catch. So he has 74 yards receiving. Guess how much the next player had in terms of the third most receiving yards?
21.
Elijah Arroyo had 5 yards.
I was trying to think, because I think Sam Darnold had 12 pass attempts. Is that?
He did. He was
accurate?
10 for 12. 10 for 12.
I looked at that after the game and I thought 12 pass attempts.
He, this is crazy. He had a 14.8 yards per throw. I'm not going to get into all the stats because I'll do stat geeking after this a little bit later tonight. But let me read to you his last, what is it? It's 6 games. I'm just going to read you his yards per attempt. Against New Orleans, 12.1. At Arizona, 9.3. Against Tampa Bay, 10.0. At Jacksonville, 10.9. Against Houston, 6.9. Against Washington, 13.8. And then he goes to 14.8 in this game. Derick, 9 yards per attempt is an insane number in a game.
It's good.
That's very, very good. 10 yards is very rare. 15 yards an attempt does not happen that often in a game, dude. And like 13 plus yards a game per attempt in 2 straight games. Like that's crazy efficiency and explosiveness.
Yeah, it's a big reason. The defense obviously been playing their part, and they deserve their own praise. But like that is a big reason these games have been felt so lopsided so early on. Is like the offense is just clicking right out of the gate. There's no slow start. I think I saw some people talking about this. It's like these aren't slow starts. This is something that we have been plagued by forever.
Yep,
feels like forever, and they're just coming out of the game firing. And if the difference in how it feels is just amazing.
Okay, how much money? What kind of odds do you think I could have got on Rashid Shaheed having more rushing yards in his first game as a Seahawk than he did receiving yards?
I don't know.
I mean,
3-1.
He finishes with 20 yards on 2 carries with 1 carry as a running back, like just a straight running back carry. Like they are just doing that.
That was a fun play.
They're just doing that to fuck with people, right?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to put it on film.
And I think they were probably just looking for a way to get him a couple touches in his first game. But what a fun way to do it. And also that little reverse thing they did early on, that was pretty creative. And I don't think we always see those things from Kubiak, maybe as like the most creative play caller, but it was good to see that.
Usually when we see creative stuff from Kubiak, it's like, oh, dude, put that back in the vault. Like, don't do that anymore. But they did all right today with those.
Yeah.
I should update people that don't know or didn't listen to Mike Macdonald's post-game press conference. Jalen Sundell has a knee injury. They don't know the specifics. He said Jalen was in good spirits, seemed to be in good spirits. He said it doesn't seem to be season ending, but that might be wrong when like we get imaging done. You have to think a lot of that was just like, let's not take any chances with them up at that point. They were already up, I think 38-7. I don't know. They were like a lot. So Jalen Sundell seems to be all right. And then Jaron Reed had a surgery on his wrist during the bye week, and apparently it did not go as planned. And he kind of retweaked it in the Commanders game, and so he had another surgery. They do not expect him to miss the season. They expect him to come back this year. He's on IR for the next four weeks. So that's the injury update. I will just say this, Derick. The Seahawks did this without Julian Love, Ernest Jones, Josh Jobe, Jaron Reed. And then for a lot of the second half, they were playing with Patrick O'Connell and Nehemiah Pritchett. And like, this is not the full strength defense. And they've made Arizona multiple times this year and last year just look like their offensive line cannot hang.
Speaking of Ernest Jones, there was not one play in this game where I was like, I wish Ernest Jones was playing. Like, obviously, it'll be great to get him back, but I think that just speaks to how well Mike Macdonald and the staff has done to coach these guys up, because that was a position of concern that we all talked about in the offseason that they didn't address. And then I think through the first part of the season, it was like Tyrice Knight got benched, and it was kind of like, are they going to have to trade for someone? But those guys balled out today, and that's amazing. And Julian Love, your Pro Bowl safety, is still not playing, and you're able to shut down offenses. And I think we can question how good Arizona's offense is and how good the Commanders' offense is right now. But these are NFL caliber teams, and I don't think there's any easy game in the NFL. So the ability to get it done with guys that we think are not up to the standard at the safety position or linebacker position really speaks to the talent and the job of the coaching staff.
Well, I mean, consider this. Like, one of the things that I was thinking about with this Cardinals game ahead of time was, if the Seahawks beat them convincingly, people are going to say, oh, the Cardinals suck. And that's such a disservice to what the Seahawks did today. First of all, even if a team is bad, it's really hard to separate by 3+ scores in the NFL. It's just hard to do. And the other is the Seahawks, the Cardinals' other 5 losses were by a combined 13 points. The Seahawks' margin of victory was almost twice that in one game. And we're not talking about like crappy opponents. They were ahead in Indianapolis against the Colts, came down, barely lost that one. They were ahead against the Packers at home, barely lost that one. And then they went in and they beat the Cowboys and held that Cowboys offense, which Cowboys defense is terrible, but they held the Cowboys offense to 17 points. Pickens was playing, CeeDee Lamb was playing, Dak Prescott was playing. They had their guys, and that defense really held down a very good offense on the road. So, like, if someone's going to be out there like poo-pooing this as like, oh, the Cardinals suck. The Cardinals had the second fewest snaps in the NFL from behind all season before this game. The Seahawks were number 1 by a long shot. And then it was Arizona. So they have been in every single game. And I don't think that you should really downplay this. It doesn't really matter. But for folks that are paying attention, this was just a dismantling. This is like the Seahawks saying, this is our level. And if you can't meet it, we are going to absolutely embarrass you. That's the team that they've become. So let's talk about the defense a little bit. Take your pick. Who was your player of the game on defense?
I mean, it probably has to be Tank just for the touchdowns. Like the last time they put up a graphic that said like it only been since 2020 that a linebacker had scored 2 touchdowns in a game, and I'm like, he's not really a linebacker though. Like he is solidly a defensive end. That it's not really a fair comparison. So just for what he accomplished, it has to be him. But like Nick Emmanwori has just continued to prove that. Like I'll admit it, I was a little skeptical of the pick, and he's shown up for several weeks in a row now since coming back from injury. That he's a legit piece and just a cool player to move around the defense, and he's making plays all over.
4 passes defensed for Nick Emmanwori and a half a sack, 9 tackles, leads them in tackles. That was a hell of a game. And there was a play along the sideline. His coverage was, I was like, that's got to be Woolen or Witherspoon. And then I see the 3 flash, and I'm like, dude, that was a legit cornerback rep from him on the sideline. And then he slipped. It was just a bummer. And McBride got open there, but you know,
I think that's kind of the funny thing about Emmanwori is like he's really good in man-to-man coverage as like a cornerback kind of responsibility. I think some of the question marks people had were more like the traditional safety role, but to, you know, his credit and Mike Macdonald's credit and the scheme that they're putting together, he's just been in great spots and put in a good position to succeed, and he's absolutely balling out.
Yeah, and Mike Macdonald there was a bit of news in the press conference in that regard as well. He said that Nick is starting to take some snaps at deep safety just because they're thin there right now. Then Jarek Reed getting claimed by the Titans makes things a little hairy for them, and they've got basically Ty Okada and Kobe Bryant as true safeties. D'Anthony Bell's not really a deep safety in the same way. So it's interesting that he's going to get some snaps there, but man, Tyrice Knight steps in, has 2 sacks in this game. And I got to look this up because I'm just kind of curious. He had 1.5 sacks his whole rookie year. So he had more sacks in this game than he had his entire rookie year. Both of them strip sacks. Both of them turn into touchdowns. DeMarcus Lawrence not only has 2 touchdowns, but has a half a sack of his own. He shared that one with Nick. He had 3 quarterback hits. Then Drake Thomas. What is going on with Drake Thomas? The guy is like 5'10". And I swear to God, his hit in the backfield, Derick, was like, at least from my angle, was like Jadeveon Clowney-esque. It was like, what the hell? Like that rocket just came through. And you don't see guys get hit that hard in the backfield like that. And Drake Thomas, 2 tackles for loss. I thought he had another strong game.
He was great. And yeah, it is funny to see him pop up. And he's like, yeah, 5'10" on a good day, maybe, but very squatty, very squatty. But he stepped up. I think there's other players. I think everyone's in the chats mentioning Tariq Woolen. Like,
yeah,
you thought, you know, if I were doing this podcast a week ago, I think we would have been talking like maybe this guy's getting traded, you know, at the deadline. And so he sticks around, and I think he bounced back today. Nehemiah Pritchett had a great play to break up that pass in the end zone. I think as a defense as a whole, we should probably talk about those 3 or 2 goal line stands and then another 4th down stop to you know, that Nehemiah Pritchett breakup. I think they were at the 8-yard line when that happened. And Ty Okada played well too, which I don't think we've been short of criticism of him. So the whole defense continuing to rally and step up in the absence of the established starters is excellent to see.
I've got to tell you something, Derick. It might make you feel some kind of way. Stacey Joe Rost just responded to our post-game show feed saying, "I routinely forget that I've blocked Derick."
Wow. Well, at least she knows who I am. So maybe, you know, if I can make a pitch that, you know, I had a bad enchilada take a few years ago, and you know.
So you're calling it a bad take? Don't walk back your enchilada take. Own it. If she wants to block you because you don't like enchiladas, that's her call. You know.
It's fair. It's fair.
But
look, this is a nuanced discussion that we can get into later. But
yeah, I will just say I'm not a huge fan of enchiladas. I would not order an enchilada. I'm not saying that they're bad. But there are at least 10 things on any Mexican food menu that I will order before an enchilada.
That's all I was really trying to say. And, you know,
All right.
Okay.
I will next time I talk to Stacy, I will see what I can do here. Change that around. But there are people in the chat saying they're blocking you now or blocking me. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Those goal line stands. I really wanted to get into those. Like,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna be Debbie Downer for like a second here. In that, without those goal line stands, this could have been a much closer game. Like in a game that should not have been close by any means, and it was 22 points. Like if they score a couple touchdowns there, you're winning by 10 points. Maybe it doesn't feel great. That said, the defense just incredible, and I think the D line is the D line we've been wanting to see. And we always look at the play. I know I bring this up all the time, but we look at those playoff kind of teams in the D lines that they put together. And you're just like, that's what the Seahawks need to get to if they're going to win playoff games. And it feels like the Seahawks have finally put together that kind of D line. And those two goal line stands where you're knocking guys behind the line of scrimmage is just what you want to see.
I mean, it's feeling unfair. I mean, like you have teams coming through like the Texans who have reconsidered their entire worldview after they've left here. Like, we can't get a half a yard. It sounds like the way we sounded last year against the Rams in overtime when we couldn't get a 3rd and 1, couldn't get a 4th and 1. Like, it just could not buy it. And teams keep trying to run at this Seahawks defense, and they're not just stopping them. Most of the time, it's resulting in losses. Like, they're moving backwards. And so I don't know, man. These post-game shows are always just about emotion. Like, this is not my most rational mind, but it feels so good to be the biggest, baddest bully on the block. And it has felt like not that for years, right? Like, we did a show a little while ago. I played the Steelers post-game rant after Mason Rudolph came in here and they ran for over 200 yards or whatever and ended the playoffs for the Seahawks. That was who the Seahawks used to be. They just were pushed around. And now I don't think anybody wants any part of this team other than the Rams. And we'll get into that another time. But I don't think there's a team out there like, oh, I can't wait to face the Seahawks. That should be fun.
No.
You mentioned some guys. I want to come back to some of those guys because I would feel terrible if we didn't bring up, did they take it away from him? Oh, at least right now they've taken the sack away for the half sack from Derick Hall. I loved that Boye Mafe and Derick Hall combined on what looked like a half a sack each and was for at least a little while. Neither one of them have had a sack all year. And I think they've been playing football the right way. They've been playing selfless within the structure of the pass rush, and they've missed a couple. And they finally, right now, they're giving it fully to Boye Mafe, which is fine. I thought those guys deserve some credit. I thought Woolens, this was his best game in 2 years. Like, he had 2 passes defensed. It feels like more than that. It felt like
but just his coverage. He a lot of what we talk about with Tariq is like mental errors or little mental lapses, and he just seems locked in. Like, he's sticky in coverage, and he's been sticky, most of the time. But you don't see those errors, or you didn't see those errors today, and you just hope because what he can be. He can be a Pro Bowl caliber player if he doesn't have those errors, and obviously he has those errors, so that's why he's not at the All-Pro level. But it's good to see those flashes that we know he's capable of.
And to your point, I mean, what was he struggling with before? Is making plays on the ball, at the moment of truth. There was like 3 or 4 of those today, and I thought he's getting closer and closer to picking the ball off. I think his technique is getting better, and we've talked about this. A lot of people wanted him gone after week 1, like, get him off my team. There were people even after week 2. And I've always said, Derick, I think the best version of the Seahawks defense is when Tariq Woolen's on the field and playing well. And even when Josh Jobe comes back, I still believe that's going to be the case. And so I think this is a big deal for sure. I expect hopefully Josh Jobe to be back. I think that if that's the case, the Seahawks did trot out nickel today, even before it was a blowout. Nehemiah Pritchett was getting snaps in the first half. I think that they are going to trot that out against the Rams this week with Job, with Woolen, with Emmanwori, with Witherspoon. And I'm looking forward to that. I think they're ready for it. So I love that from Tariq. And I talked to him this week at his locker, and this guy wants to be here. He didn't want to get traded. Like, he loves this team. He knows that the team that drafts you, you'll never have another team that has the same love for you as the team that drafted you. And credit to him, man, to put that noise to the side and pick up his season. Same with Boye, who there's rumors about as well. Like, I think it's great that he comes out and gets his first sack. So, yeah, and Okada, you mentioned him as well. I mean, this guy was as bad as you can be in the first game, right? And now when he actually hits the opponents, he does some damage, man. Like, he comes with
hits hard.
He does.
He hits hard for sure. Back on the Woolen and Mafe thing, like, it's a bit of a vote of confidence to them that they're still here, and if they're here in future seasons, it's a little irrelevant. They're here now on a team that is gearing up to make, a deep playoff push, try to win the NFC West. So I think it's great. And the fact that they were meaningful contributors today means they're not out of the picture. They're not fringe players. They're going to be meaningful pieces of this defense if the Seahawks are going to go far.
All right. Couple other things. Switching sides again. I think you're absolutely right on that. Nice to see that it seems like they've made the adjustment out of the bye week that they're going to use the tush push on short yardage. Like, we're not going to come up with some galaxy brained shotgun, whatever. We're going to do the thing that has not yet been stopped and still has not been stopped unless they run to the line and try to snap it super quick for some reason and catch people.
The false start was a little annoying on the goal line.
Yeah.
You had them, and it seems like such an effective play. You don't need to try to cheat,
right.
to do it.
Yes.
But I don't know. Maybe the Eagles are always cheating, and that's how they are successful. But it just seems like you have this 6'6" tight end who needs a half yard. Okay, let's just snap the ball and do it.
Yeah. So,
and how great is it? Just by the way, that it's AJ Barner who gets to be the one to pull this off.
You've been a Barner guy since
I'm a big Barner fan.
Barner gang, the Barn crew. Yeah. And then also, Derick, we have to mention 198 yards rushing. They were over 200 until they did kneel downs at the end. And what's something we've talked about with this team is, man, they have had trouble closing games. They've had some stuff. And the big issue there has been either they haven't actually called running plays or they haven't succeeded with those running plays. And I thought all three running backs today, George Holani, we say four if you want to say it, Rashid Shaheed, but Zach Charbonnet had his best game. Kenneth Walker was great. They both had explosive runs. Zach Charbonnet had a 30-yarder. Kenneth Walker had a 24-yarder. Anthony Bradford keyed both plays with blocks. So, I mean, being able to run the football against not like the best run defense, but not the worst either. I'm pretty sure this is as many yards as the Cardinals have given up all year on the ground.
And regardless if the Cardinals are good or not, in the second half, they know you're going to be running the ball because you're trying to drain the clock. And they found success, and that's huge. That is absolutely huge. And K9, I thought, was hitting some of those edges and getting around guys, which it feels like he's been getting caught a lot trying to do that. And today it felt like he found some success getting to the outside. Sharp had a pep in his step, and Holani getting his first touchdown was amazing. I think he's been a preseason king the last 2 years, and you feel like he just deserves a little shot, and he got it today, and that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, and credit to the offensive line, and credit to Oluwatimi. I mean, they have the fumbles, snap exchange thing. We'll talk about all that. We got to talk about some of the mess that happened in the second half for sure, but they paved the way. And, you've got Zach Charbonnet averaging 6 yards a carry, Kenneth Walker at 4.8, George Holani at 4.4. They end up, when you're running and everyone knows and you average over 4 yards a carry anyway, that's what the Seahawks have not been able to do before. And also credit to Clint Kubiak. This was not the Houston Texans fourth quarter where they keep passing the ball and you're like, what on earth are you doing? But we do have to talk about this. Whenever the Seahawks are ahead by 30 points and close to their own end zone, hold on to your hats, man. Like, hold on to your butts. It's going to be wacky. And again, we get a fumbled snap. We get another interception bounced off a player's helmet. And then we get a strip sack. Like, those are things you can't do. Like it is sloppy. It's not good football. And I mean, I don't think that overshadows all the other stuff personally, but that's you got to get that out of your game.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't say it overshadows things, but it clouds it and it makes it a hell of a lot less fun to watch. It's just kind of like, come on, guys. I mean, if they went 3 and out the whole second half, I would big whoop. But like, just yeah, and it was kind of what I talked about a little bit ago, which is, without those fourth down stands, if the Cardinals really took advantage and scored, all 3 of those turnovers, this game is oddly close for how dominant it felt in the first half. And so just the turnovers let teams back in the games when they shouldn't. And if this, if this is a 2-score game, say in the playoffs against a team, and you're giving away a couple dumb turnovers, it's not the kind of thing you can let in your game. And I know they're up 30, so it doesn't really matter, but it's still the sloppiness that you just can't have if you're really going to go far.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it matters. I don't think it matters a lot personally, but I do think it matters. And I guarantee you the coaches are going to be like, awesome. We just won by 22 points, and we're going to be able to hammer the guys on details about what they need to do to get better and coach them up. I thought it was really cool in the post game. Just a real quick aside, Mike Macdonald talking about why George Holani was getting snaps earlier on in that game, and he's like, because he's really good at that run, and he's been playing great. And he's like, I don't understand why more teams don't do this. When you have guys that are practicing really well and playing really well, you play them, and it helps you win. It's not about helping them feel better. It's because it's going to help you win. And I thought there was a little something. I'll play that sound another time, probably tomorrow or something on the show. But there's a little insight into Mike Macdonald's mind of, we're going to continually reward players. It's almost like Pete's competition mantra was supposed to be, but it's almost a little bit more positive than that. It's like, this isn't about competition. It's about, if you perform and practice well, we're going to find a way to get you on the field. That's not a competition. That's just reward.
Yeah, and the way Mike, I mean, I didn't watch the clip, so I didn't get his body language and stuff, but just reading the quote, it sounded like to me he was like, we're not just doing this to, give a guy a carry. Like,
exactly.
We're doing it with intention and with the idea that this is going to help us, and be like very intentional about not just rewarding a guy, but doing it because you genuinely think he's going to help the team. Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the sloppiness that much. I generally, Derick, my rule of thumb is anything that happens in the second half of a 38-7 game doesn't really matter. Like, if the Seahawks had scored 3 more touchdowns, I don't think that would have mattered. If the Seahawks had, punted every time, I don't think that would have mattered. It's kind of funny. The Seahawks did not punt that entire game.
Well, when you give away 3 turnovers, you don't have to.
Exactly. They found other ways to give them the ball.
Well, look, they got out of their way eventually, which is the good thing. And they did it through finding some success in the run game, which we just covered. But that's a big step forward, because we have not seen them run their way to close out a game. And they did it today and found success doing it. It wasn't run it 3 times and punt. It was run and actually sustain a drive and really chew up the clock.
Yes. And I see some people asking about Nicky Emmanwori's injury. Like, that was like, oh no, don't get hurt in garbage time. He went off. He came back on. So, and he also was interviewed after the game. So I think he's fine as far as we can tell. You always got to wait till after to be sure. We've got some super chats. Let's take a look at these. 12 for Life, who's been a member for 9 months. Love it. Says, it's getting fun, 12s. Love this team. Go Hawks. Well, love that from you. Halo Hawk says, we need Jalen Sundell back. I hate conservative football. Defense looks incredible. Nick looks legit. What's our biggest weakness going forward? Go Hawks. What do you think?
I'm still going to say the run game. This is, again, very encouraging today. Excellent that they were able to run the ball in the second half when everyone in the world knows they're going to run the ball. I need to see it more just to feel confident that that's going to be reliable going forward. Today was a good step.
Yeah, I think their biggest weakness is play calling and execution inside their own 5-yard line when ahead by 30 points. They're terrible at that. I think I could probably broaden it out to they are bad at executing when up by 30 points, or up by multiple scores at home in the fourth quarter. Like, that's their biggest weakness, which, you know what? Like, the Atlanta Falcons can tell you that's a pretty big problem to have. Kyle Shanahan can tell you that's a pretty big problem. You don't want to keep having when it really matters. But for now, it's a little bit funny. Justin JJ says Cooper Kupp ain't washed.
I want him to get that touchdown so bad.
That was pretty cool. I mean, it was funny. He almost, when he caught it, he's like, where is everybody? And he just starts running, and then he just keeps running. It was kind of a funny play, man. But I do have to say, DeMarcus Lawrence has one more touchdown this year than Cooper Kupp. So sorry about that, Coop. Troy in the Philippines says, picks this week. Come on, guys. Trust you're as good as we think. By the way, Rams game won't be a blowout. Dana 27-24, Nathan 27-17, Brian 20-10, and Troy said it was going to be 31-13. Well, good on you, Troy. Good on you. And I'll tell you this, Derick. Like, I got to the game, and the energy, like the vibes were low. It was like very dead in there. It was a beautiful day, but I was like, this is the kind of game where the wrong thing happens and all of a sudden you've got a long one. Next second it's 14-0, and you're like, next second it's 21-0. 20, like, it was like, what just happened? So I love the confidence, and I love that they're giving you reason to feel more confident. It's great. Tyler Morano says, who's been a member for 9 months, says Tank and Knight had a great day. To put it,
Tyrice Knight.
Yeah, go ahead.
But Tyrice Knight was benched earlier this season. That happened. And I think a few weeks ago, I was pretty certain John Schneider was going to be making a trade for a linebacker, and Ernest Jones goes down, and it's like, he's definitely going to be trading for a linebacker. And we talked about Knight and Thomas really stepping up today and saying, no, we don't need anyone else.
Yeah. I'm super impressed, super happy for him. I mean, Tyrice Knight, I think, has handled this all really well, and to come in there, and I do think there is a chance, Derick, that he is a better Mike backer than a Will backer. That's what he played in college. It might just fit his eyes a little bit better. But I think he was great. He was great, no doubt about it. Detail interested. Bobby says, Brian, early in the season, I said that JSN has the potential to be the best receiver ever for the Seahawks. I compared him to Largent. Most slam me for the take. I know he has a long way to go, but thoughts. I talked about this with Dave Bowling and Mike Sando, and Dave Bowling agrees with this take. Mike Sando's like, hold on. Like, he has a metric he showed up for Steve Largent's Hall of Fame, and Steve Largent was doing things for years on end that were just never done in the NFL and was like separating from everybody else. I haven't thought about this deeply, but as far as, is it a conversation? I think it's absolutely a conversation. I don't think it's a bad take at all. I don't know, Derick, if you probably don't have a lot of Steve Largent.
I was not alive when Steve Largent was playing, so I don't have a take on that. But look, JSN is playing at an offensive player of the year style or level. He's on pace currently to break the single season receiving record. He doesn't need to do that, but he needs to stack many, many seasons like this together to, I think, be in that conversation.
Yeah. Amazing game again. Jose Rodriguez says, what a dominant win. Yeah, Jose, it was amazing. Hopefully you're having a great night. Will Fries, who wishes he would have taken the physical and come to Seattle. says, how worried about Sundell being injured are you? Do you think the second half passing game debacles, turnovers were related to his absence? Are you concerned about Darnold's terrible play when backed up? Well, the turnover, like the fumbled snap, 100%, I would think is likely related to having a center quarterback duo that have not had a lot of snaps together this season. The rest of it, I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look. Do you
It's
feel
hard for me
like,
to parse.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to parse whether it's them being backed up and he's feeling extra pressure to not mess up because they are backed up, or if it's just circumstantial that, like, look, turnovers are a very small percentage of the story of a season. And so to get a few in the same spot on the field, I don't know if there's much to read into that.
Yeah. The conversation about, like, are you concerned about Darnold's terrible play when backed up against his own end zone? Yeah. I will say this, though. I'm more concerned with the play call. I don't think there's any reason for him to be passing in that situation at all. Like, I think that Mike Macdonald and Clint Kubiak need to have a conversation of punting is okay when we're up by that many points. And I think they've like made adjustments themselves about, like, hey, we've been being too conservative before against Jacksonville and some other teams, and we're going to be more aggressive. But I think they've overdone it. And Sam Darnold, I asked him about, okay, what did you learn from that play where you got strip sacked for a touchdown in your own end zone? And he's like, I've got to be more aware of the situation and just get rid of it. What did he do this time? He got rid of it quick, and it hit someone's helmet. Like, I don't know if I can, like, I'll have to go back and see how much I can really put that on him. But he did adjust to the situation in that case. I just question the play call.
I think that's fair.
All right. Bobby's back, says, shout out to Mike Macdonald. He said when he came here, he wanted to make the Hawks the team that nobody wants to face. He's not even done yet, and he's reached his goal, in my opinion. I think so. I don't think I don't think the Rams are scared to face the Seahawks.
No, look, they'll be up for that game for sure. I mean, and so the Seahawks. This is a chance to take control of the division. This is I'm giddy thinking about the game already. I mean,
how fun is that, man? This could have, there's so many other times, even if the Seahawks were worthy of that game, they would have kicked the game against the Commanders, or kicked the game against the Texans, or kicked the game against the Cardinals today. And it would have been like, oh yeah, this is a good game, but we're down a game or two and it's not quite the same thing. Seahawks are full friggin' steam ahead. Rams, full friggin' steam ahead. And they're going to collide next week. And we just get to see almost the rarest thing in modern NFL, two great football teams playing. Like, there's a lot of bad football out there.
There is. And you got two quarterbacks. I mean, Matthew Stafford is playing at a really high level, and we all thought maybe he wasn't going to make it through 5 weeks.
I didn't.
So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be amazing.
Hopefully.
D-Snap says, two concerns. Our tight end coverage seems like a weak spot. Sam's turnovers, thoughts?
McBride is incredible. Like, let's get that out of the way. He is, I think Kittle has slowed down a little bit, and it was maybe like, okay, we don't have to deal with a freak tight end, and now McBride is here.
McBride's a bitch. Let's just be really clear. McBride's a bitch. Like, flexing after a touchdown when you're down 38-7, like, that is bitch behavior. And I found him to be super obnoxious in this game. And I thought that generally Nick, when he was matched up on McBride, did an excellent job. And did he get some? Yes, fine. But, like, when did he get those? When did those happen? How many of those yards came? Like, when it didn't matter. And so if you want to pile up your numbers with Jacoby Brissett in a game you lose 44-22 and crow about it, enjoy your bleach tips, and visor down there in Phoenix, and good luck. good luck the rest of the season with that team. So, Seahawk Man, who's been a member for 8 months, says how the Hawks perform in this Rams game will be huge to see how we match up against true contenders. Can't wait. I think we all agree with that. 206 Nate, who's been a member for 8 months, says running game looked improved with Olu. Sundell's play strength issues have been noticeable in the run game. Thoughts? I think this could be a story, Derick. Like, Olu was the starter until he got hurt, and Sundell had some excellent games in preseason, and he kind of Wally pipped him. I've never thought Olu was a disaster. Like, he's always been an okay center. Like, I don't think you're in bad shape if Olu's your center.
I don't see a big gap between them. Obviously, Sundell has some athleticism that Olu doesn't, but I don't think there's a gulf in class between them. They're both okay centers who can function, and I think when the rest of the line is playing pretty well, that's all you need at center.
Yeah. I don't think it's an issue. I think Sundell has more upside, to your point, athletically. I do think he struggled at times with power. I think Olu struggles at times, sometimes with power as well. But I'm fine with Olu being in there. I really like, other than they just need some snaps to get used to each other, I think it's fine. I think you're in good shape there. OEL says, so Brian, Derick, I just got into this show, so forgive me if you guys mentioned this already, but of Sam's three turnovers, which ones were of his doing and which weren't his fault?
I think we agree the first one is not his fault. The interception, I think I'm putting that on him. To your point, probably deserves a look back to really see what happens if he could have avoided it and position his throw a little better. And the third one, I do put on him because I think that's a little bit pocket awareness, understanding there's a defender right behind you. Maybe don't put your arm up to try to throw right there, escape a little more. This is wild. I'll let you get your take in, but the Cooper Kupp play, I don't know why I just remembered this. I was yelling at Darnold to run that ball because he had about 15 yards in front of him, and he needed 3, I think, to get a first down.
Yeah,
and then Cooper Kupp ends up wide open, so it ends up okay. But
I'm with you. That is
him to run it.
I have a couple pet peeves in football. I've got a bunch, but one of them is quarterbacks that could 100% gain the first down on a third down by running, who then decide to throw. And there's a lot of times that ends up working out, and I'm like, okay, but I'm like, just get the first down. Like, what are you doing? And the other one is when quarterbacks are scrambling and they just run out of bounds to lose yardage instead of throwing it to get it in completion. Those two things, I'm like, what? Anyway, those are just my my pet peeves for the day. All right, I think we've got with super chats are nonstop here. This is awesome. Mark says Rams had a similar dominant game against 49ers today, so looking forward to next week. It'll either be Rocky 1 or Rocky 2. We're going to Hollywood. We're going down to LA, so we will see. It's actually going to be my first time in SoFi. I've never gone. So have you been?
No, definitely on the list.
Yeah, and then you're going to be in Nashville the week after, yeah?
2 weeks from now. Yep.
Let's go, Derick. You know that we've sold out. We've sold out our lounge thing that we're doing on Saturday night.
That was a surprise, by the way. You did not tell us we were doing a live podcast, so now I'm, pressure's on my shoulders.
All you got to do is have a few drinks and sit in the seat and talk Seahawks every once in a while. I'll probably rotate people in. We'll have a rotating crew that night. But Nashville's, Derick, if the Seahawks beat the Rams, Nashville is going to be a party. It is going to be a party. Seahawks fans are going to take over Nashville, and that would be a 8-2 Seahawks team, sole possession of first place. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm just saying, if that happens, Nashville's going to be a weekend to remember.
I mean, look, it's going to be good either way. They're sitting at 7-2. It's not going to be that bad. I remember when we were talking about this, like, week whatever 11 it is, the Seahawks could be. What if Darnold doesn't work out and they're like 2-8 at that point? We're like, it's Jalen Milroe season already. So we're in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, and people are going to get annoyed, but I'm just going to say it anyway because I don't have much of a filter. I think you were kind of getting at this, but even if the Seahawks lost to the Rams, I'm in on this team. Like it would be a bummer. It would suck. It would be like whatever. The Seahawks team can win a Super Bowl this year. They absolutely can. I'm convinced of that. Are they going to win every one of the rest of their games the rest of the year? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. This team is 7-2, and they have the highest point differential in the NFC. This is a legitimately great football team, and they're going to play another legitimately great football team.
Yeah.
The Rams lost to an Eagles team. I don't think the Rams are worse than the Eagles. It happens.
The couple points there. I mean, one, you're going to lose sometimes to good teams. No one,
right.
You know, even the Patriots couldn't go undefeated, right? The point differential thing is a really big one, though, because that is teams can get fluky wins. You can win by, a bunch of close games, as we've seen. So point differential can be very predictive in terms of how good are you. And in the NFC, the Seahawks are number 1. The Rams are number 2. So by that metric, these are the best 2 teams in the NFC.
I think DVOA is going to say the same thing. I think a lot of metrics are going to say the same thing. It's hard to not just start talking about that game. This is a good one from Stephen Eckholt, a Canadian brother. I love that. Says, opinion on pulling starters. I feel like we could start pulling guys after halftime when we're up 38-7. I was sitting there thinking, Derick, like every Seahawks fan right now is debating, okay, when do we pull our guys? And it's weird in football because you have so many players. You only have so many backups. You can't really. And then if what happens where they start making a little bit of a comeback, you can't bring guys off that have cooled down. Like it's a one-way street. It's not like NBA. Even the NBA, they kind of don't bring guys back. But generally, it's a one-way decision. What were you thinking about when's the right time to pull guys?
I like coming out of halftime, it was not on my mind. Particularly because they scored before halftime. And then I think, look, if you put together a touchdown drive, maybe coming out of the half, maybe you can talk about it. But you go and have a turnover, they score or whatever happens, and then you have another turnover. Then it's like, okay, you're halfway through the third quarter, and we've just given the ball away 3 times. We got to, I don't think that's the right time to pull your team after having 3 turnovers. So I think they got back on track. They probably could have done it a drive or 2 before. They ended up doing it, I think, in the 4th. But coming out of halftime, I think would have been too early.
Yeah, I would have been okay if they had pulled some guy. Like initially, Leonard Williams wasn't on the field for the first 2 snaps of the third quarter, and I was like, I'm fine if they're like he's done. Like we'll win or lose without him. He played a lot of the second half. If they had like strategically started to pull 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, I would have been fine with that. I was generally on board with the way they handled it. I thought Sam Darnold, when they brought him in there, for the most part, he was handing the ball off. So I don't think they were putting him in that much harm's way. They weren't putting JSN in harm's way that much. I think he had 1 catch in the second half. So generally, I thought they handled it pretty well.
I realized that question was probably more about the whole team than just Sam Darnold, but my mind went straight to Sam Darnold, given what happened last week with Jaden Daniels. So yeah, I would agree. If they pulled a couple other guys like JSN or Leonard Williams, I wouldn't be bothered by that. I was mostly thinking about the quarterback position.
All right, Derick, I just pulled up the largest point differentials in Seahawks history after 9 games. Would you care to guess which team in Seahawks history had the largest point differential after 9 games?
Is it not this team?
Well, I'm before this team.
Before this team.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I was gonna say one of the Super Bowl teams, but I'm like, you know what? They could have had some shaky starts too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2014.
It's a good guess.
Terrible guess.
It's the 1984 Seattle Seahawks with Kurt Warner, the other Kurt Warner. They had a plus 88 point differential after 9 games. The 2005 Seahawks had a plus 83 point differential after 9 games. The 2013 Seahawks had a plus 83 point differential after 9 games. The Seahawks in 2025, 103. That's a big difference.
It is.
That's a
It
big
is.
difference.
Yeah, 15 points is a lot. I'm trying to think, what's the Pythagorean wins calculation? This is super nerdy.
Well, last time I checked DVOA, it was like they should be undefeated. Like,
that's what I'm trying to get at. I think, this is like a team that should probably have one loss. Like that's what their point differential is pointing towards.
Their DVOA was like the 4th highest in the history of DVOA.
Yeah.
At this point, like they're that's what I'm saying. Like, whatever happens next week is going to be like, let's just have a fucking great game. Let's hopefully nobody gets hurt and let's see what happens. They very likely, they are going to be without Julian Love. I think it's pretty likely they're going to be without Ernest Jones. We'll see. You're not going to be at full strength. You're not going to have Jaron Reed. We know that. But let's go have some fun, man. Like let's see where it rolls. And this is they've already proven that every other team that they face is going to fear facing them. They won't admit it, but they're not going to look forward to those games. Ari or Ari, I don't know. There's a friend in the Seahawks that writes for him named Ari Horton, who's a great writer for them. So I never know. She's been a member for 1 month, says having Spoon back is awesome. You can feel it. I do think he completes that defense, even when he's not the guy making the sacks or the interceptions. He's just another really, really good football player in there. All right, dude. I've kept you on for almost an hour. We have much shorter, but there was a lot of super chats to get through. Any closing thoughts from you, fellow stashed individual?
This team is a lot of fun, and it just feels like they're going to be a team that can win playoff games. And you get this great opportunity next week that we talked about for probably half the show at this point to really assert yourself as the top in the NFC. That's it.
It's a good it. It's a good it, man. And we're going to break down this matchup between the Seahawks and the Rams all week. Already got some good guests lined up. We'll talk with Matt Hasselback on Tuesday. I've got someone from the Athletic Football Show who I will reveal soon, coming in Wednesday for Tail of the Tape. So special episode then, and we'll have real Hawk Talk. We're going to do the whole thing. So you're going to get a ton of Seahawks content this week, and I'm going to go do Sunday night stats after this. Start just churning out some stats. I think there's probably going to be some crazy ones, Derick, but we'll find out what I can find. I'm sure everyone's way ahead of me on this, so I'll just say things that other people have already said. All right. I am Brian M. Hauser. This was Derick Gebby. That was Derick Gebby. And this has been another episode of the Real Hawk Talk post-game show. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Take care.